We definitely see that people more and more want that personalized information. And there's a number of tools that can help do that, but just having the opportunity to do your stakeholder mapping will also give you some of this information about that personalized information that each group of stakeholders might want. As you're thinking about this, I'm sure for many of us, this can feel really overwhelming, right? This is a lot to take in when we think about how we build the opportunity to influence. And that what we're thinking is you have to bring people on the journey with you. So I'll use myself as an example. I am an extreme introvert. I tend to think about things a lot before I say them out loud. So by the time I've thought of something, and then by the time I've said it out loud, I've already worked through, in my mind at least, all of the problems that could have happened, all of the scenarios that could have happened. But I haven't brought anybody on that journey with me. And so this is something I've had to work on, but this is the same thing. As you're working on your proposals, as you're working on your ideas, as you're working on your brainstorming and your strategy for the next few years, that's the right time to get people on board with you, to get input, because then you're bringing them along on your journey. And that influence piece feels like less pressure if you're doing it slowly over time and incrementally over time. But again, influence is a long game. And this is why building those relationships is so important. So again, why is this, right? This is easier said than done. We have to start to think about mutual benefits. We have to really reframe our goals into win situations. If we do have something that we have heard from a group of stakeholders, but we cannot action it, we cannot make it come to life for whatever reason, having that difficult conversation sooner rather than later, again, is a way to help build that trust. And it also helps us demonstrate our competence, right? Just because we can't bring something to life doesn't necessarily mean that we can't do our jobs. It just means that at this particular point in time, it's not the right time. So when we think about these types of things, we definitely need to also think about who are our trusted champions, whether it's for a specific project, whether it is for a specific strategic plan. Who can we leverage? Who can we get to speak out in agreement and champion what we're trying to work on? So if you look at that initial stakeholder that you wrote down, or that group of stakeholders, and they're a group that you might be having some challenges with, I'd be curious for you to jot down what other group of stakeholders or what other individual stakeholder might be able to influence this group better than you can. Just take a second and think about it, because influence doesn't mean we have to be the ones doing all the work. We can tap into others to help us get to where we want to go. So I want you to think about, as you think about some of those more challenging groups of stakeholders, or you think about more challenging initiatives, you have the opportunity to say, okay, who does this group respect? Who do I know would be able to help them see things differently? And it might not necessarily be someone with more power or more authority. It might be someone who is impacted by what you've all done and can come in and tell a story. So think about who might be able to help you in terms of influence and changing perspective. So as you're thinking about some of these, those testimonials or case studies also are ways to help you build that conversation and get that information from those particular people in a way that changes someone's attitude, changes someone's belief, changes someone's perspective. And that's, again, really what we're talking about when we're talking about influence. We don't want people following us blindly. We want people following us purposefully. And in order to do that, we have some work to do on our end.